Hey, Moral Gamers, we're back. Today we're taking a look at Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition. Extreme, Esquire, Benissimo, Bravella. Okay, whatever. Apparently Capcom cannot count, so instead of making Street Fighter 5, 6, 7, I mean, they should be like Mortal Kombat. Up to 9 by now, they just keep revisiting the same version. And instead of calling it a patch or an update or a character add-on, they keep inventing these as new games, except they're the same game, so yeah. Let's move on to the review, shall we? First thing I want to point out about this game is that it uses an anime style. Great cell shading design. Look at this. This is pretty awesome because Capcom has captured down the feeling of it actually being a living anime. You don't see very many games doing this as well as this title has done, this Street Fighter version has done. The story in Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition takes off after Shadaloo has fallen and Bison is no longer the great dictator, and that's about all you really need to know. The character I'm playing as is Judy, and she essentially is in it not only because she enjoys killing, but also because she is psychotic and has orders from this guy who's got a yin-yang symbol in his stomach. Go figure. Each character, like Ken and Ryu, are still in it because they want to be the best of the best, and then everyone else either has a tie to the main plot or is the typical, hey, I have a rival, I want to be better than him. Yeah, it's kind of silly, and unfortunately, since Mortal Kombat 9 stepped up the bar for storytelling in fighting games, this one really just doesn't measure up there. But that's not why you play fighting games. It's like the story is just basically the articles. The main event here is the combat, and it keeps in step somewhat with the classic Street Fighter games. Now, you're going to use a lot of quarter circle moves or Z moves on the controller in order to pull off your specials. A few characters are going to have the pull away and then push forward moves. It is what it is. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can say about it. It's typical Street Fighter. But they've also added counters, step counters, cancel counters, guard cancel counters, and a few other things that just convolute the system. It's not like the old days where you could just sit there, you could learn special moves and the basic attacks for each character, and then fare fairly well. Now you have to have complete accurate timing on all of your moves, otherwise you get screwed over by people online. And online play is what separates, well, me. And the people out there who like me, who basically don't play these games religiously. I barely last around online. I get absolutely torn up. I don't have the time to master the entire system, just like some of these kids do. Yeah, I generally play offline because I don't like losing every single round and getting utterly trounced. Capcom has blessed players with a whole whopping 4 characters more than the previous iteration of this game. Count it, that's 4. You get Evil Ryu, Yun, Yang, and Shin Akuma, who is actually called Oni. Yeah, okay, 4 characters more. They're doing the whole let's add a couple characters thing like they've been doing ever since Street Fighter 2. Not that impressive, but still, hey, it's better than nothing. The problem that still occurs with the roster is that they still have too many clones. Ken, Ryu, Sakura, Dan, they pretty much fight the same. A jumping uppercut and a fireball attack, along with some type of spinning kick, although Dan's is a little different. It still feels like Capcom hasn't really learned to differentiate their characters. They're just building upon them, and although the stories mix them together fairly well, no. Come on, guys. You can do much better. You're a more creative force. So the question is if this game is worth your time, and it depends on you. I've been a Street Fighter fan ever since Street Fighter 2 The World Warrior came out. This was way back in the 90s. It was a great game, revolutionary at that point, but they've just taken and they just added unnecessary complexity on top of what was already a very sound system. In fact, the highlight of the series was the Street Fighter Alpha, which I will be reviewing at a later point in time. Still, if you don't mind an overly complex 2D fighting system, hey, then great, check this one out. If you don't mind getting slaughtered online for a while, great, check it out. Otherwise, I definitely would steer players away from this game. It's just not everything I hoped from a Street Fighter game. From a moral standpoint, there's a few items that you may want to take note of. First up, there's the demonology issue. Many of the characters, it's within their backstories ever since the early days of Street Fighter, are using demonic spirits, demonic powers, in order to use their special moves. Most notably is Evil Ryu, Ken, and Akuma, who harness the power of the Raging Demon in order to kill their opponents, or at least deal high amounts of damage. If you have issues with demonology, yeah, you may want to keep your kids away with it. this is martial arts combat, and it's very obvious that they're going to be doing a lot of fighting. So with the fighting system, if you have problems with that, then yeah, keep your kids away from it. Finally, there is the dress, and a few female characters are a little bit over-endowed, a little bit more showing than you'd want. Yeah, that's maybe not something you want your kids seeing, so you might want to consider that as well when purchasing this game for your kids.
K.O.